Hello, everybody. Happy Sunday. I hope you're doing really, really good. Let's talk a little bit about Palantir, and then I want to give you some conceptual theories that have been making me a shit ton of money and giving me premiums through options on Palantir by being the bank. So I'm not the buyer, I'm the seller. And I'm going to explain to you a theory that can make you a lot of money as well. And this can be applied to anything, not just Palantir. Let's first talk about Palantir. Let me make this clear. Palantir is a fucking beast. A beast. I've been saying this for about 3 weeks or so, ever since Palantir ran up to that $20 mark, plus or minus a dollar. $20 is a magnet for Palantir, which means it can revolve around that $20, $21, $19, $22, $18. $20 is a magnet. For now, things can change. Palantir at $20 is richly valued. Richly valued. And I believe that the magnet is going to push towards the downside. Gravity is going to take over. And I do believe that Palantir is going to hit a $17, $18 price. That doesn't mean that I am bearish. That means that I am preparing properly to add more shares. I am doing this by utilizing an option strategy where I am the bank and I am doing covered calls. I am saying that I'm willing to sell my shares of Palantir at a certain price. And by doing this, I am collecting premiums. You can set that price way out of the money where you're never actually going to sell your shares. For example, 20% out of the money, weekly sells, and you're going to collect a very small premium, but the chances of you actually selling your shares are going to be about 3-4%. So 96-97%, you are not going to sell those shares. If you want to know how to know if you are or not going to sell those shares, on the option, when you press sell, call, option, there's going to be a delta and there's going to be a percentage chance. The delta, whatever the delta is, that's essentially the percent of that option hitting. So since you are selling, not buying, you just deduct the delta from 100 and that's your percentage. So if it has a 0.05 delta, or 0.05 delta, that means that you have a 95% chance of actually winning, right? It's the opposite. If it has a 20 delta, 0.20 delta, that means that it's 80% chance in your favor, 20% chance in the favor of the person that's buying your contract. Because I know that the $20 is a magnet, you can play it safe like that, or you could sell right on the money. If you get closer to the strike price, all you got to do is either sell and then do a cash secured put and buy at a lower price. Or if you don't want to play that game, just roll out your contract. If this sounds complicated, ask questions. Do research. I'm just giving you game theory and something that I've been doing for quite a while. But let me give you guys the actual gravy train here. When you are dealing with options, high volatility, you should be an options seller. Low volatility, you should be an options buyer. When you are selling options, you want to sell at a really, really high price, and then you want to buy those out at a low price. And I mean implied volatility, high and low. Implied volatility is the volatility measured for a trailing 12 months. When you sell an option at a high implied volatility, there's going to be a Greek. There's a delta Greek. There's a theta Greek, which is time decay. But there's something called a Vega Greek. And a Vega Greek is associated directly with implied volatility. And for every percent of an implied volatility that goes up or down, that is the Vega Greek, where you would see it in the options chain, is the amount that the option would go up or down. So right now, at $20 strike or $20 share price, if you start seeing options with super high implied volatility, you can sell those options. When the volatility drops, you can buy back that option. You don't have to wait until expiration date, and then you make the difference of the premium for when you sold and when you bought back your own option. It's super, super lucrative. A lot of people think options have to be super risky. It's actually the opposite. If you are buying options, maybe it's risky. If you are selling options, if you know these basic things, and there's like another 10 things that you can know, but if you know the basic things that I just said, it's super duper simple. With all of this said, Palantir is super strong. But you got to ask yourself, everybody was waiting for a catalyst of S&P 500. The catalyst never came, and it's not going to happen in December. We're not getting added to S&P 500. We know we will be added to S&P 500, but we know that it's not going to be in December. It wasn't announced right now. There were 3 companies. Uber was one of them. Palantir was not one of them. So a lot of people worry about this. What can be a price catalyst for Palantir? One of them, what was left, was S&P 500. Well, that price catalyst kind of just died. I'm not saying Palantir cannot go up higher. I am saying be smart and be able to trade Palantir bullishly, collect premium, and add more shares. That's what I'm trying to say. That's what I've been doing for the longest time. I am mad bullish on Palantir. I listened to Cheyenne Sanker speak. They were supposed to do 140 AIP boot camps in December. They're going to end up doing 200 AIP boot camps in December. And for the year, they did like 350 AIP boot camps. They're expanding AIP boot camps not just to U.S. commercial, also to U.S. government. So it's going to be AIP for Gotham. Massive. Huge. Huge, huge, huge. Because we're going to be able to attract even more government agencies and sub-government agencies. This is going to be the future growth of Palantir. But make no mistake about it, Palantir must perform, and Palantir must show a conversion rate of the AIP bootcamps to actual AIP clients, paying clients. Because right now, it's free. When Cheyenne was being interviewed, one thing that the interviewer said very carefully is like most of these software companies, SaaS companies, are trying to go to market with an AI offering. For example, Snowflake, Databricks, Datadogs, specifically Snowflake though. While Palantir not is trying to go to market, Palantir is already on the verge of profiting from their artificial intelligence offering. And there's a difference. Why? Because Palantir always had this offering for the last decade or so. I don't know, 5 years, 6, 7 years. Between 5 and 10 years, Palantir had AIP. Maybe it wasn't called AIP, maybe it wasn't specifically AIP, but they had a version of AIP. They tweaked it, they adjusted it, and now they have a public offering of AIP, and they were able to do it literally overnight with the drop of ChatGPT. And that's why they are leading the market in this. Snowflake's earnings came out. Snowflake's revenue growth is slowing down. Although their revenue growth is still double what it is Palantir, they're not profitable. Their expenses keep going up. Their stock-based compensation is up. And they're spending a lot of money to get those revenues, while Palantir is spending less money to get their revenue. And I believe that Wall Street didn't understand Palantir. They understood Snowflake because it was simple. Now Wall Street is starting to understand Palantir, and Palantir is starting to get the premium over Snowflake. If Palantir can at least do 20% revenue growth, and it's not that difficult, it's going to keep going up. If it does not, if it's not absolutely perfect home run, hit it out of the park in the next earnings, which should be the next catalyst. Between now and earnings, the next catalyst can be a Titan program, right? The Titan contract, announcement of Titan contract, and then any random contract. But we're waiting for Titan. Other than that, there's nothing that's going to be announced between now and earnings that I can recall. And that's not bearish. That's bullish. And you guys should prepare for things like that as investors, right? You guys should know things like that. So if you can prepare and plan, then you're going to be victorious and make even more money, even more profit. You can make money on Palantir going up. You can make money on Palantir going down. You can make money on Palantir trading sideways. You just need to have the tools. And one tool that I am utilizing is an options strategy. Lately, I have been combining even more option strategies besides for selling covered calls, cash secured puts, and I'm not just talking about Palantir in general, but it can be applied to Palantir. This is called the wheel strategy. You could actually do put credit spreads, for example, where you are actually bullish because you don't think Palantir is going to drop to a certain price, where you are selling a cash secured put and then buying a put right below that to stop your losses and maximize your gains. Palantir is a beast, super bullish as ever. 2024 is going to be a very, very interesting year. The fact that Palantir was able to be so resilient is honestly astonishing for me, because I did think Palantir was going to go down to like $17, $18 by now, but it's still holding at the $20 range. I believe most of the money coming in is actually institutional buyers, institutional ownership, because they believe Palantir is at the forefront of artificial intelligence. And only now, while we were in here for the last 2 years, only now is Wall Street starting to understand what Palantir is and what Palantir does. Dr. Karp was at the Reagan Institute, Reagan Library, and he was super, I don't give a flying fizzle about you. Palantir is a cool company. We're taking over. We are going to keep taking over, and we are super advanced. He reiterated his support of Israel, reiterated his support of Taiwan, reiterated his support of Ukraine, reiterated his support of the United States and the United States allies. So that's super, super duper important. I am super proud of being a Palantir content creator, a Palantir shareholder. I am only bullish on Palantir. Sure, the price can go down, and your job is to minimize your risk and maximize your profits and be able to expand your ability to buy on a dip if the dip comes. Unless we fumble the ball, Palantir is not going to go back to that $13, $14 range, I don't think. Maybe the new bottom is going to be like that 15, 16 range, and I honestly think we're going to be trading between that 17, 18, 19, 21, 22 range, right? With $20 being that anchor, which I've been saying for quite a while. If you want to play the options when the implied volatility on your chain is super duper duper high, you can sell a covered call. You can even do it way out in expiration, like a month, 2, 3 months, 6 months out. And then when implied volatility goes down, you can buy out your own options contract that you just sold. You're not going to make as much profit. The premium, you're going to have to give some back, but you still made a nice premium. I hope you guys understand what I'm trying to say. Palantir to the moon. Super proud to stand with Palantir, because Palantir is standing with what's right. And Dr. Alex Karp said something super awesome. He said, look, these days, people are going to these elite schools. They're watching a few TikToks. They write a paper for a super duper college professor. They get an A. The college professor is somebody that couldn't hack it in the real world, couldn't make it, so they're a college professor, and they think they understand the world. Just because you have 180 IQ does not mean you're smarter than a goat. And he's like, fuck you. You can't work for my company. The fact that everybody is taking for granted the freedom that we have, that United States gives us, and wants to turn our country into a socialist, everything is absolutely freaking absurd. If you live in America, respect America, support America. And I don't know what's happening with society. But in any case, thank you very, very, very much. Have a great day. I hope these things made sense. Ask questions. Take care.